tech work, it's Natalie from Circuit Recruitment and welcome to another installment of Landing a Job 101. In this series, I'll be sharing one tip per video, taking you slowly through the whole process involved with landing yourself a new role. In my previous video, I talked about networking online, so check out the link in the video's description to head over to my YouTube channel and look at that if you're interested. But in today's video, I want to move on to talking about interview prep. What are the key things that you should be doing in order to ace that interview? Let's dive in and find out. Firstly, I'd like to say that interviews can look incredibly different depending on the role that you're going for. Interviews with tech people are very different to interviews for non-tech people. Some of this advice can be applied to any interview process, but there'll also be some advice that you might be able to only apply to people in the tech industry. Given that I recruit within the tech space and mainly for software engineers, I do think it's best for me to advise on what I know best, but I am going to split this video up into two parts. One that's going to be tech related and the other that will be non-tech related, just so that everybody can get a chance to take something away from the series. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. I'm going to keep part one very broad, covering how to prepare for a general interview, something like a cultural interview, behavioural, or a first screening interview. So without further ado, here is my checklist of what to do when you're preparing for a generic interview. Tip number one is take a look at the PD. In particular, you really want to make note of the responsibilities and core competencies that they want you to have. It's very likely that they're going to be asking questions that are based on those areas, and you can always reverse engineer it a little bit and start to think about what you might be asked based on the information that you have at hand. Tip number two is prepare examples of skills that you have that are relevant to the PD. If the role requires teamwork and passion and Java experience, then think of examples where you use those skills in your previous role or any of your previous experience. Tip number three is look into the company. You don't have to know all of the ins and outs about the company, but you do have to know a little bit about what they do. And if there's any news that's related to them, it could be really good for you to arm yourself with that information. A really good way for you to gather that information is to maybe have a look at the company's career page, their LinkedIn, or spend some time Googling the news section for them. ChatGPT could be a really useful tool for you to maybe provide a good summary about the company, especially if the company is quite complex or they offer multiple products. But just make sure you're aware of the fact that the info only goes up to 2021. Tip number four is practice some answers. This is a really good way for you to make sure that they just roll off the tongue when it comes time to use them. And a lot of the time, your answers might be able to apply for multiple different questions. Seek actually has a really good tool, which is an interview builder that you can use to help you prep for potential questions that you might be asked. I'll try and make sure that I try and remember to link that in the description. And if you can, try and find a friend that you trust to say all of your answers true. This can really help you practice getting out of your comfort zone. Tip number five is prepare some questions for the company. Interviewing is a two-way street and you need to know that they're the right fit for you just as much as they need to know that you're the right fit for them. Try and prep at least 3 to 4 questions and make sure that they are open-ended. Tip number six is plan your outfit. This might seem a little bit silly in the days of remote interviews, but when you think about it, more corporate companies are probably going to want to see you in maybe a nice blouse or a button-up shirt. But a startup that you're interviewing at might be more attracted to you if you wore a cool t-shirt or a sweater. So make sure that you consider cultural fit before turning on the camera. Tip number seven is find ways to manage your nerves. Some people like to do breathing exercises, others like to journal it out. Maybe you might want to go for a walk before the interview or distract yourself with your favorite TV show. Whatever you do, don't work yourself up. If you've done all the preparation that you can, before your interview, you've just got to come to a place of acceptance and just know that if the interview is going to go well, then it's going to go well. And if it's not, then it's just not meant to be. The rest is out of your control. And feel free to be honest about your nerves when you first get into the interview process. Remember that the person on the other end of the table or the Zoom call doesn't want to see you fail. In fact, they're probably hoping that you're going to absolutely smash it out of the park so that they can stop looking for more people. They want you to be a great fit for the company. And if you get the feeling that the interviewer is trying to trip you up, then maybe you should reassess how much you want to work for a company that has hiring managers that are in that position. My final tip for generic interviews, tip number 8, follow up. A short email goes a long way. Recruiters are usually really busy, sometimes we forget things, and I'd say that if you get to the 3 to 4 day mark without hearing anything, unless they've otherwise specified a time frame to you, then it's probably a good time for you to send a little message or follow-up email. Finding a new role is never easy, but if you make sure that you walk into the interview process feeling really confident and prepared, then you're definitely going to up your chances at landing a new role. Let me know if there's anything that I've missed in the comments. I am going to make the next video a little bit more tech-based for people who are going to be working on coding interviews or maybe whiteboarding exercises. So I hope that you're interested in hearing about that. You can view the rest of my videos in the series on my YouTube channel that I'll link in the video's description. But until next time, thanks for watching and bye.